Hello, and welcome to the SAF Audiovisual Cast, where we, SAF, connect and share information from top university officials, faculty, and administration directly with SAF students and parents. Thanks for joining us.
First, I'm your host, William, with SAF and IES in Chicago. We've got a special guest here today representing the University of Bristol, the International Recruitment Officer. Hello, Ellie Dunmall.
Hi, William. Nice to see you.
And you too. Ellie, greetings. We normally start with a little bit of a bio. As I understand, you've been at the University of Bristol for around 5 years, and including some work with Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. Could you introduce yourself a little?
Yeah, of course. So hi, everyone. My name's Ellie, and you're absolutely correct in that I have been working at Bristol for about 5 years. My previous job prior to this one was working as an international recruitment officer, looking after or helping look after Sub-Saharan Africa and also Southeast Asia, and recruiting from those regions. But now I am a global opportunities officer working within our global opportunities incoming team. So my role is helping incoming study abroad and Erasmus students study at Bristol.
Wonderful. So now it sounds like 5 years in education and and a lot of international education. Can you tell us what you enjoy most about your role?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say my current role, what I really enjoy most about it is working with people. I think a lot of us who work in international education have got into that role because we enjoy meeting people, we enjoy speaking to students, we enjoy presenting and representing the university and the city that we live in. And particularly with this role as a Global Opportunities Officer, working with our study abroad students, I really enjoy the student journey because it's quite a unique position in that we get to meet students at recruitment fairs and events when we're in country, but then we also get to welcome them to Bristol when they arrive. We get to process their application, we get to speak to them prior to arrival and answer any questions, and then we really get to look after them whilst they're with us as well. And one of the things that I find most rewarding is seeing those students and the journey that they make whilst they're on their study abroad mobility period. It's amazing to see how students grow in kind of confidence and also are just so much more independent once they've left us, and just being able to be a part of that journey is really rewarding.
It's wonderful to hear passion in the answer and within the field.
Yeah.
You've also referenced you're based in Bristol, and that's in England, in the United Kingdom. Some wonderful different locations that we'd like to hear a little bit more about. First, what makes the UK so popular with students? What do you think?
I think it's a really good question. I think personally, it's the quality of the education in the UK. You know, we have some of the best universities in the world based in our kind of tiny little island. And, you know, we consistently perform really well in the world rankings. Our institution, the University of Bristol, and a lot of other members of the Russell Group, which is a body that we're a member of, they're very focused on research and research-led education, which I think is really important for students when they're looking at a degree, is to make sure that it's being informed by research, that they're being taught by academics who are at the forefront of their field, and that actually we're the people who are making those really big changes and worldwide in each of the subject areas that our students are studying in. So I think it's that. I also think, you know, a UK degree is recognised worldwide, and having a degree from somewhere like the University of Bristol on your CV, or having a mobility period from the University of Bristol on your CV, just puts you a little bit above some of other students in terms of what employers are looking for. And I think a lot of employers will look at kind of a UK degree and look at that really favourably. So I think that's probably why students choose to study in the UK. And then on top of that, I mean, I think the UK is just a brilliant country to be in. You know, it's very diverse. There's lots of different places you can go and visit. And it's nicely located in terms of its proximity to Europe as well, which is obviously a real plus for students.
So speaking of wonderful places to visit, Bristol Such a beautiful place. A lot of people maybe are less aware of it. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you're absolutely right. We don't have a big football team. We're not like Manchester, where people go, yeah, Manchester United, I know. So Bristol City, unfortunately, is not the best team. But so we're located in the southwest of England. We're around kind of an hour and a half away from London. We're actually just kind of on the border in between England and Wales. And Bristol's a relatively medium-sized city. So I think we're the 8th largest city in England. We've got a population of just under 500,000. And it's a very, very independent, diverse, forward-thinking city. I think a lot of people choose to live in Bristol in the UK because of the fact that it is such kind of a diverse place to live. It's very focused on green energy, and it's very committed to sustainability as a city, which is something that I love about living in Bristol. We also have incredible food and music scene in Bristol. Some of the best clubs and kind of music venues in the UK are based in our city. And yeah, I just think it's a really fantastic place to be a student. It's not so big that it's overwhelming, but it's big enough where, you know, there's enough to do and explore so that it always feels fresh.
Now, you mentioned a little bit earlier, the University of Bristol is part of the Russell Group.
Yeah.
I think some of our students are less familiar with the Russell Group, and also maybe it would be great to hear a little bit more about the university.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll start off with the Russell Group. So the Russell Group is a group of 24 UK universities who really are world leading. They're very research intensive, as I've mentioned. And Bristol is a part of one of those. So Cambridge, Oxford, LSE, Bristol, all the kind of the big names in the UK are a part of the Russell Group. In terms of the university itself, so the university was officially kind of established, I guess, in, I think it was 1876, and it got its royal charter in 1909, so that was when it actually became the University of Bristol. Something that I'm really proud of about Bristol is that it was the first higher education institute in England to admit men and women on an equal basis, and I think that kind of pioneering spirit is something that you still see in the university today, and something that we're very proud of kind of making those steps forward. The university itself, we have 6 faculties. So we have, I'm going to try and list them. So we have arts, science, social science and law, life sciences, and now my brain's gone completely blank. Life sciences, health sciences, and engineering. So they are our 6 faculties, and they offer a really wide range of courses within them. So anything from civil engineering to music. We're a relatively large university, so we've got a population of about 25,000 students, and we are currently ranked in the top 10 in the UK, and also 58th in the world according to the QS World Ranking. So we're a relatively well-ranked institution. In terms of kind of, I guess, our research, so as I said, we are a research-led institution. We've got around 13 Nobel Prize winners who are associated with our university community, including our current Chancellor, Sir Paul Nurse, and also Winston Churchill as well, who was our Chancellor from 1925 onwards. And I just think Bristol, it's really well located in the city, the actual university. So it sits kind of within our Clifton area, which is one of our, I would say, oldest and also most architecturally beautiful areas of the city. The university itself has some very gorgeous flagship buildings. So if you search online for the University of Bristol, the Wills Memorial Building will come up, which is just a stunning, stunning building. And it's right in the centre of the city. So it's a campus-based university, which I think is really nice for students because it's very easy to get from the centre of town to the university. It's just a short walk. Students can obviously be on campus, but then they can go down the road and go to the shops and get some food, or go to a restaurant or a cafe. And I just think it feels like you're in the middle of a city, a relatively compact one, but definitely it's got that kind of buzz about it.
So tell us something fun to do on campus.
Oh, fun to do on campus. There's lots of things to do. I guess it depends what you're into. Right before we started working from home, actually, I had a tour of our engineering facility, and we have like a whole wall of 3D printers, which I thought was super cool. So, and students and staff can use them. So I thought that was really cool. I think for engineering students, there's a really cool area called Hackspace, which is basically like a room, an area where students can actually come and collaborate with other students and test out kind of their ideas. So it's got lots and lots of kind of materials and also products to use, which is a really cool place, I think. What else is really cool on campus? I guess our Students' Union probably is one of the really nice kind of hubs of the campus. So in case you're not familiar, a Students' Union in the UK is kind of a union for the students. So it's made up of students, it's run by students, it's for students, and it really runs a lot of kind of events on campus. There's always really fun things to do based at the SU. They have a really great kind of bar cafe area, which is very cheap. So it's always good if you're looking to save money, go and eat at the SU. And then I guess one of the other things, or kind of something that's coming up at the university, is our Global Lounge. So at the moment, we have a Global Lounge team who look at running kind of intercultural events throughout the academic year. And they are running in a pop-up mode, but hopefully from, I think it's 2022 or 2022, they'll have a physical space on campus. So that'll be really cool because it will be an area where international students, British students can come and meet, learn about each other's cultures. They run a language tandem every week, or a language cafe, which is great because it's a chance to learn a language. So yeah, there's lots of cool things happening on the campus.
Sounds like it. Now, focusing on visiting students, it can be quite challenging or demanding to arrive in a new location, have so many different stimuli, and also focus on coursework and have maybe even a new style of coursework. Can you take us through how perhaps your office or the university assists students in this adaptation?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good question. So I think, as you said, it's very normal for students to experience, some kind of culture shock, or if not, some kind of difficulty kind of adjusting to a different academic system, and also a different country, living in a different place that's, they may have never visited the UK before, and they may think that they know a lot about it, but then actually arriving somewhere, it can be kind of sometimes a little bit overwhelming. So we definitely support students with that. In terms of the academic side of things, we run an orientation when students arrive at Bristol. So we will talk students through a lot of kind of the things that they need to know about the university and the city, but we touch quite heavily on kind of the differences in the academic system. We'll go through kind of what to expect, some of the differences in language, and the way in which they may be expected to deliver work. And we'll try and prepare them as much as we possibly can, using different examples for how it might be different to what they're used to. What we also do is we run an open door policy in our office. So when we're physically in the office, which we're not at the moment, sadly, but when we do go back to the office, we run a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 open door policy. So if ever students are struggling with kind of that adjustment, we say to them to come in, meet with us, and we'll kind of sit them down and talk them through some techniques and things that we found previous students have found really helpful in kind of managing that transition. The university also runs a study skills group. So it basically looks at improving student study skills, which is something that's so helpful for our incoming study abroad students. They have one-on-one sessions with study skills tutors where they can help go through an essay and kind of let you know whether this sounds good or this is what they're looking for, or maybe actually tweak that. And they also run kind of an online platform as well with lots of different tips and techniques about UK academic system, referencing, how to write an essay, how to revise, how to stop procrastinating, all of those things that I think we've all felt at university. Certainly when I was at university, I've kind of been in that position where it can be overwhelming. So we do work with them as well to kind of help students. This academic year, they actually delivered a whole session for our study abroad students all about the UK academic culture and actually adjusting to the UK system. So again, that's something that I would just encourage students to make the most of whilst they're with us, but to always reach out for help as well if they feel like they need it.
Certainly. Now, I believe that we touched on some of the response to this following question, but what resources would be available for someone who's homesick or needs emotional support?
Absolutely. So I guess again, the students' first point of call can always be our team. So as I said, we're always on hand throughout kind of our working week. Anytime students want to come in and see us, they can. We can go to a quiet room. It's very much a very private, personal thing, and we'll make it as comfortable as possible for students to really feel like they can open up if they are struggling. We want to hear from students that are struggling. We don't want you to struggle and not kind of let us know, because we can help. And then usually we would direct students to a couple of different resources depending on kind of the situation and what they feel is appropriate. So on campus, we run a huge amount of support services. So we have a dedicated wellbeing team who actually work with students to help them if they are struggling or having any difficulties. They again will then be able to refer students if they feel like they need it and want it to our counselling services, if that's something that they feel is appropriate. If not, we have a residential life team as well who actually work in students' residences. So this is really important for us, is to give students that kind of 24/7 support in case they do need it. So within our residences, we have someone on call 24/7. So at any point, if students do feel, actually, I really want to speak to someone, I'm feeling really homesick, maybe it's 9 o'clock at night and I haven't yet made any friends that I feel that comfortable enough talking about these things to, they can get in contact with our residential life team. They may send round another a member of staff to speak to the student. They may invite them in for a chat the next day in their office, and they will help support the student and give them some advice on things they can do. So I think in terms of homesickness, one of the things that I would totally recommend would be just to join a society. So our Students' Union, as I mentioned before, they run tons of societies, sports clubs. There's about, I think, 300, I think it may be 400 now, student societies. So anything from skydiving all the way to the Harry Potter Society. It's completely wide-ranging, and I think it's a great way of meeting students, meeting other people who share a similar interest with you, and I think that can just really help in kind of breaking that ice. Going to maybe the gaming society's game night and just playing a game with someone, and then it not having to be something that's an anxiety-inducing thing. Actually, they can play a game and then maybe have a chat afterwards and then find out they've got loads in common. So yeah, definitely joining societies, I think, is a really, really good thing. But if that's not working for students, there are other things that they can do. We run a lot of events on campus that students can be a part of. So I would just say, just reach out to us, let us know. We'll try and point you in the right direction, and just know that you're not alone in feeling this way. It's very normal for students to I think after the initial high of arriving somewhere new and it all being fresh and very exciting, it can be really normal to have a kind of dip. And I think being so far away from friends and family and your support systems, it can be really hard. So, and we understand it. So we're just here to support students.
Now, we've focused a lot on helping a student succeed when they're in session. Prior to that, there's also a question of who is the University of Bristol right for? Could we take a moment to think a little bit about what qualities maybe you look for, or what qualities match with students that succeed in their time at Bristol?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think who the university is right for is probably someone who wants to be in a smaller city. So I think, a lot of students think of the UK and they think of London, and I think that's completely normal. But what I would say is I think Bristol's a nice kind of in between, in that it's not as hectic and as busy and as kind of huge as London, but it's a good size in terms of the actual city itself. It's easy to get around, you can see your friends easily. So I think it suits someone who wants a busy city and lots going on, but also maybe wants to have a little bit more of a community feel. Something I definitely feel in Bristol as a city and as a university is that community is really strong. I think we're really proud of our community. I think as a city, you're proud to be a Bristolian. You feel that community. A lot of people have kind of similar, I would say, views, and are really working towards creating a better city and a better university. So I think if you're kind of that like-minded person who maybe is looking for a community outside of their home university or their home country, but yeah, like I said, want something that's a little bit more manageable, Bristol's a really good fit. Academically, it is rigorous. I would say, it's not for students who maybe want to just go and travel Europe for a year, because you will have to do some work at Bristol. We're academically a really strong institution, which I think is great because it will push students to really think independently. I think that's one of the things about the UK education system that I think is really fantastic, is that we don't spoon feed students. I mean, we're there to support students if they need it. But what I would say is we really want students to go to class, do the reading, take away some ideas, and then go off and research on their own, read additional books, really get deep into kind of the subject area that they're studying. And that's really important to us. So I'd say it's for someone who wants that challenge, wants to really immerse themselves in different subjects, and yeah, I think that has that answered the question.
It's answered it very well.
Okay, great.
We also we love to cover and recover some of these topics, so it's wonderful that you shed so much light on it. It's much appreciated. I think one other thing that we haven't talked about yet is obviously something that everyone's dealing with, both in the United States or in the UK or in China or in other parts of the world. Right now, there's a global pandemic. Each community and university and even individual has dealt with it in different ways. We'd love to hear a little bit more from on the ground in Bristol, how things have been there, and from an academic perspective, how things have changed or responded.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good question. So we, as the rest of the world have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. In Bristol, we thankfully have had a lower number of cases than other areas of the UK, and actually in the southwest in general in England, the cases have been a lot lower. So we've been really fortunate in that sense to have not have felt it quite as dramatically and drastically as other areas of the UK. But obviously it's really affected kind of our day-to-day running of functioning as a university. I mean, so we're all working from home at the moment, so I'm in my living room, and we're just really trying to adjust to kind of this new way of working, really. In terms of the academic side of things, so we are looking to continue to accept students on campus from September. We will be running a blended learning approach. So when the pandemic first hit, or kind of really intensified in the UK in March, our class lessons went online. So a lot of other universities around the world, we went onto an online platform because it wasn't safe to allow students to come onto campus at that point when we were in the peak of the pandemic or the first wave. In terms of what we're looking to do in September. So we are looking to continue that online learning, but we're also looking to have a real blended learning. So what we want is for students to be able to come onto campus and to actually have some teaching contact hours. We think that's super important, just in terms of students, their socialization with other students, but also their learning. I think, you know, online teaching is great, but I think we have to have that mix between the two for students to really thrive and get the most out of the education. So we're going for that blended learning approach. We have taken a lot of steps on campus to make the campus very, very safe. So all this information is available on our website, but obviously we'll be doing thorough cleaning of the campus. We've implemented kind of one-way systems, and we'll be opening up the campus, I believe, in mid-September time, for students to come back on campus. Obviously, what I would say is this is all kind of subject to what's going to happen in terms of the pandemic. And I think we're very aware as an institution that we need to be flexible in terms of our response. And really the most important thing for us is the safety of our students and our staff. So that comes before everything else. And I think we just want to ensure that we have a safe environment where students can come back. If things do change, obviously, then we may need to adjust that. But at the moment, we're going for that blended learning, and hopefully we will get students to have some contact hours alongside their online learning.
Thank you for that. Now, we do like to wrap things up on a lighter note.
Okay.
As I understand, you have some experience visiting China earlier in your life. Could you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, sure. So I actually haven't been out to China in a while, unfortunately. So I was saying to William that I was meant to be going in March, but obviously that didn't happen. So I actually went to China when I was in year 10 in school, so I must have been about 14. And it was part of a British Council immersion project. So my school wasn't one of the best ones in the area, and I think that they wanted to really get students to get involved in this project. So I think it was me and I think 4 other students from my school, and then I think in total it was a group of about 40 of us. We went over to Xiamen in China, and we were there for, I think it was around 6 to 8 weeks. So it was quite a long time. And it was great. I mean, it was completely different. I was 14, so I hadn't been too many places before this. And I would say it was a real culture shock for me, but I loved it. We got to learn Mandarin. We got to be buddied up with a student from the school where we were based in, and they would take us to their house. I learned how to make amazing dumplings that I've completely forgotten how to make, but they were incredible. And we really just did a lot of kind of cultural excursions, a lot of trips, and it was a fantastic experience, and I'd really, really like to go back. So we went to Shanghai for a couple of days, which was great, but I've never been to Beijing, so that's definitely one on my list. But I'd like to explore a lot of China. I mean, I think it's such a beautiful, beautiful place, and there's lots of different places within China that feel quite different. So yeah, looking forward to, hopefully, fingers crossed, when things get better in terms of kind of traveling and things like that, to go.
Certainly. So anything else you'd like to share with us today?
No, I think that's it, actually. What I would say is just, yeah, for students who, so I guess the study abroad program, just to kind of clarify a little bit about what students can do in terms of the study abroad program itself, because we haven't really touched upon that. I just wanted to highlight the flexibility of it at Bristol, because I think that's something that's really, really great about our program, is that you can study for a semester or a full academic year, and you can really mix and match different subject areas. So in the UK, students tend to just do kind of one subject from the very start of their degree, which is standard. But with the study abroad program, say you are an economics student, and you want to take, maybe 2 or 3 economics classes, but maybe you also want to take a British history class, or you want to take a literature class, or you just want to do something completely different and take a film class, or something just a little bit outside of your normal kind of academic program, then you can do that at Bristol. So I think, you're not restricted in terms of what you can study. And I think that is what's really great about the program, is its flexibility.
Thanks so much for your time today.
You're very welcome.